I'm just outside today, just in gratitude. First of all, I love being outside. It is a great way for me to just be grounded in the present moment and grounded in, I think, what is truly important in my life. And I'm not saying that, no, not everything in my life is important, but I think there are some core things that I have to keep returning to for me to appreciate the rest of my life. And I'm just learning that more and more as I grow older. There are some core things that I got to keep coming back to so that I can be a better human being in all the other aspects of my life. So I'm a part of this morning group. It's a group of older guys. I think the youngest guy on there, well, I'm the youngest guy on there. I'm 27, getting ready to be 28. But the next youngest guy is probably late 40s, early 50s. So I'm pretty young on there. But I get to meet with them every Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. and 6:30 we talk about just different books that we read, mostly dealing with theology and spirituality and Christianity. And I'm grateful for that group in many reasons, for many reasons. But I'm especially grateful for conversations like what we had this morning. We read the book, but one of the questions that came up was, this book is talking about the importance of being in the moment and being present and recognizing God in every single waking moment, and acknowledging that God can indeed be present in every single waking moment. So one of the guys asked, how can I go about, cultivating this awareness and this presence and essentially being present in my life. And so there's so many beautiful ideas that were shared. So I'm going to be picking back off of some of that, but then kind of just sharing what I think is important, as I'm trying to figure out, what do I do when, for whatever reason, God doesn't feel near, or I don't feel as grounded. Like, what are some things that I can do practically? And for me, I was drawn to this idea that I think Richard Rohr introduced this idea to me. I'm not sure if it was his ideal or what, but essentially he says, for you to appreciate anything, you got to appreciate at least one thing. Does that make sense? For you to love anything, you got to learn how to love one thing well. And I think that's a very great practical idea, because as I think about, some of the things that I try to immerse myself into, like being outside, being in nature, that's something that I kind of immerse myself into that allows me to pay attention. Like, this is the one thing, nature is the one thing for me. And once I'm able to have an appreciation for this and be grounded by this, as I go out and go home and I'm able to love my wife better, be more present to my wife, I'm able to be more present in my work, be more present in my creativity. This is just one of those things for me. And it's going to be different for every single individual. There's going to be something that just comes more natural to you. Maybe you can start there, as you're trying to deepen your awareness of God or come back to a reality and a communion with God. Perhaps one way to do that is to go towards what you're drawn to, especially if it's something that reminds you explicitly of God's presence. For me, is being outside. Something else for me is music. And also creating content. I mean, sometimes creating content can be taxing and burdensome, but that's mostly when I'm in my head about it. When I'm in my head about what I gotta say or what I gotta do, that's when it becomes a job and a chore. But when I'm present and just kind of letting my hair down, metaphorically speaking, and just kind of being with what I'm doing becomes more enjoyable and more lovely and more good. Further, someone else said that one way to be drawn back into the awareness of God or be close to God is to pay attention to the good, the beautiful, and the lovely around you. Because all that is beautiful, all that is lovely, all that is good originated with God. And not just that, God is present in all that is good, beautiful, and lovely. And this is non-Christian and Christian things, which is something that I'm just really diving into recently. Like, some of the most beautiful films I've ever seen are not by Christians. Some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard are not by Christians. Some of the most beautiful books I've ever read are not by Christians. And I can keep going. But don't get me wrong, there are plenty of Christians that are doing some beautiful things. And I think that they are really connected to God as revealed through Jesus. Because There's some content that I'm like, where is God in this? Like, where is the spirit in this? It's just, it's all head, it's all ego, it's not spirit, it's not heart, it's not love. But there are some things where I am able to recognize that as to be true. So maybe one of the ways that you can be more aware of God's presence or be grounded more in God is paying attention to the beautiful things that are in your life. And I know sometimes it's hard to recognize that. It's hard, which is why I think it's just gonna it's hard work, but why I think an easy thing to kind of push you into that hard work is to start where it's easy. Start where it comes natural to you, and it comes so natural to me to be outside. Period. To listen to the birds. The birds are preaching a sermon to me right now. To look at the blue sky, to feel the sunshine on my skin, to look at all the green, to listen to, there's a fountain over there, to listen to the fountain going. This comes really easy to me. So maybe it starts there, and then that's when the important work of bringing this presence and bringing this groundedness into the rest of our day and our reality. Something else that has also been really important for me is just gratitude, like cultivating gratitude. And this is something I can do anywhere and anytime. I can't always go outside because sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's too cold outside. It's on the brink of being too cold now, but it's 40 degrees, but I got some jackets on, so I feel good. But man, it's hard sometimes to go outside. So cultivating something like gratitude is helpful for me too. I like to really immerse myself into that, and I've talked about this on this channel before. So I'll get like a piece of paper out, and I'll write down as much as I can think of, and I think that practice alone is grounding and centering as I'm trying to be mindful of the beautiful and the good, because most of the things that I'm grateful for are indeed the beautiful and the good. So perhaps cultivating gratitude and journaling and writing out what you are grateful for in this moment is there's a great way to ground yourself in the present moment, which in turn will ground you into the reality and presence of God. Man. And even as I say some of these words, I'm just so grateful for where I am right now in my life. Like this has been so consistent. And of course I have my days where it's like, I don't really feel it as much, but it's been so consistent, like overall. And I'm so grateful. And I know some of my routines has played a role in this. There's a YouTuber that I love. His name is Joseph Solomon. He has a music channel. He also has a channel called The Shores of Joseph Solomon. He used to be Christian. He's not really Christian anymore, but his content is still beautiful and lovely. And he talks about the importance of routine and how routine has played a part in his mental health, his brain health, his body health, his ability to be creative and develop healthy habits. And I've embraced that. I've always been a man of routine. I love my routine. But I guess him saying that really that resonated with me too. This is another factor that has contributed to what I've experienced, the joy, the peace, the excitement for life that I've experienced has had a lot to do with my routine. I've had a consistent routine, especially in the morning, and even incorporating a healthier evening routine as well, because I think to have a good morning, you have to have a good evening. This is preached often, but I believe that to be true. If I want a good morning, I gotta have a good evening routine. So I have a beautiful routine that has, I think, initiated a lot of things within my heart and my mind, which then propels me into acknowledging the beautiful things in the presence of God in my day. So, I mean, this is a multi-layered thing, routines, going back to the one thing that comes natural to us. Community has also been so important for me in this moment of my life. I didn't know how important community was until I came into this space and I experienced genuine community. And when I say genuine community, I mean a space, relationships with people where there's give and take, equal give and take, right? So this is where I've been, and it's been a beautiful place to be. It truly has. So I'm talking a lot. I hope that some of these words have been helpful. I think I hope some of these ideas have been helpful to you. My prayer and my plea is that you may find exactly what you need in this season of your life, whether that is challenges or victories and whatever. I just pray that God may reveal to you exactly what you need to see, and that you may come to peace, you may come to a centered place, a grounded place, so that you can go out and bring that grounded consciousness and awareness to everything that you engage with, whether it's relationships or your work or whatever. Blessings to your day. Thank you for watching.
Let the ego go. Let the spirit flow. Let the ego go. Let the spirit flow. Let the ego go. Let the spirit flow. Let the ego go. Let the spirit flow.
It's not the fingers pointing to the moon that matter. It's the moon. And the moon is still shining each night. On the night that I die, it will be shining. Although even the